In this video, I'm going to show you how to integrate a Godot 4 multiplayer game project with the JamLaunch API so that you can get easy multiplayer game server provisioning. So we have this multiplayer game that's been deployed to JamLaunch. We can create sessions. We can join those sessions. And then when we start the game, we are connected to a remote server that is able to synchronize these different clients. So we have a multiplayer game that is being managed by a remote authoritative server. All right, and basically the only thing we're using in this project to get that is this Jam Connect node. And the only thing we need to connect to in this Jam Connect node is a player verified signal and a player disconnected signal. Everything else in this game is just normal Godot 4 multiplayer logic that's programmed with the assumption of an authoritative multiplayer server and player clients. So if we look at the character, for example, we can see that we have Godot 4 RPC calls that are basically just getting the inputs of the players, or the input of the player that controls this character. And then we also have a synchronization that the multiplayer server is doing for each of the players once it figures out where they're positioned and stuff like that. So we're using, and also like we have the multiplayer synchronizer synchronizing the properties on spawn, and in the level we are using the multiplayer spawner to synchronize the addition of the players, and then if we follow that back, we're basically just spawning the players when we get that player verified signal from the Jam Connect node. So what's the Jam Connect node doing? So at a low level, it's doing quite a bit. So it's handling some authentication for the user. So in order to play one of these games, you have your JamLaunch account, and so you log in, and the client will perform a authentication handshake to get a token, and then it will use that token to hit the JamLaunch API to create sessions under your identity, so your JamLaunch identity, so that's what determines whether or not you would have access to any particular game. So you can't just join any game. You can join the games that you are actually a member of. You get that game session info from the API, and then the JamLaunch add-on uses that to then do all the configuration of the Godot multiplayer stuff. So for example, so we have the Jam Connect script here, and so for example, if you're the client, it's going to slap the sort of boilerplate connection UI, which you can customize if you want, but this is sort of the goal is to make this a little bit nicer and more configurable as is. So it slaps that on top of the Jam Connect node until you're connected, and then it'll do all the multiplayer configuration. So depending on where the server is and what the port number is that you have to connect to, it handles all that, and then so that all gets distilled down to just these spawn or player verified signal and player disconnected signal. So the main takeaway is you have a normal Godot 4 multiplayer game that's programmed with the idea of having a authoritative server, And in order to integrate that with Jam Launch, all you need to do is add the Jam Connect node. Hopefully that was a useful overview. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the new Jam Launch Discord server. I'll put a link in the description. Also, sign up for Jam Launch is now public, so you can go to app.jamlaunch.com, sign up for an account. You can download the example game that I showed here with the add-on and try it out locally to see if it works the way you want it to work. And I should also have a more fun example coming out in the next week or so. Thanks.